Francisco, City of Peace, birthplace of the United Nations. San Francisco, a city of special significance to Baha'is. During a visit to the city in 1912, Abdul-Baha expresses the wish that the banner of universal peace might first be raised in San Francisco. In 1945, the representatives of 50 nations gather here to form an organization that would, in the words of the Charter, put an end forever to the scourge of war. That dream would prove to be elusive, and the process of building peace complex and difficult. On the 40th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations, the Universal House of Justice, the supreme governing body of the Baha'i community, issues to the peoples of the world a statement entitled, "The Promise of World Peace." The statement is presented to heads of state and leaders of thought worldwide, eloquently proclaiming the urgency of the issue, sharply delineating the barriers to peace, and clearly enunciating the steps that must be taken to establish world peace. More than 1 million copies of the statement are distributed in over 200 countries. In San Francisco, the first International Baha'i Peace Conference is called to proclaim, to discuss, and to celebrate the promise of world peace. People of all races, classes, and religions, artists, scientists, jurists, and academics are invited to join the Baha'is in a fresh effort to establish the great peace. Distinguished guests include Ervin Laszlo, editor of the Encyclopedia of Peace, Reverend Motlelapula Chabaku, exiled South African civil rights leader, Frank Newman, retired Justice of the California Supreme Court, Cecilia Burciaga, Associate Dean of Graduate Studies and Research at Stanford University, Craig Schindler, lawyer, psychologist, and co-founder of Project Victory, Jeff Faux, president of the Economic Policy Institute in Washington, D.C., Annie Dodge Wauneka, Navajo tribal leader and the first American Indian to be awarded the Medal of Freedom, Riane Eisler, author of the Equal Rights Handbook and the Chalice and the Blade, David Loye, co-director of the Institute for Futures Forecasting in Carmel, California, Robert Bellah, prominent sociologist of religion from the University of California at Berkeley, Thomas Banyacya, an intercultural interpreter of the spiritual traditions of the HOPI, C. Eric Lincoln, professor of religion at Duke University and author of Race, Religion, and the Continuing American Dilemma, and Roshan Billimoria, chairwoman of the Executive Committee of the Non-Governmental Organizations of the United Nations. The conference is a celebration of unity and diversity, reflecting the Baha'i understanding that the conscious recognition of the oneness of mankind is a fundamental prerequisite for world peace.
Listen, can you hear the sound of hearts beating all the world around? High on the mountain, or down on the plain, everywhere around the world, the heartbeat sounds the same. Black or white, red or tan, it's the heart of the family of man. Whoa, beating away. Whoa, beating away. Whoa, it's beating away. Listen, can you hear the sound of laughter? All the world around, down in the valley, down by the sea, everywhere around the world, laughter sounds the same to me. Black or white, red or tan, it's the sound of the family of man. Whoa. all the world around. Walking through the jungle on a busy city street. Everywhere around the world, singing always sounds so sweet. Black or white, red or tan, it's the sound of the family of man. Whoa, singing away. 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 Whoa, everybody. Whoa, singing away. Whoa, singing away. Whoa, singing away. Whoa, singing away. Whoa, singing away.
Peace today seems to be a long way off, but mankind is coming of age. Among you, I am convinced that mankind is on the threshold of adulthood. This has been a demonstration that has deeply moved me this morning, seeing these young people dance, perform unity in diversity, and seeing all of you here today. If this experience here can be repeated outside, in the world at large, mankind indeed will come of age, and the prophecy of Baha'u'llah will be fulfilled.
It was a special and necessary privilege for me to be part of this very historic and memorable conference. I'm saying necessary because of the crucial times in which we live, where there is so much tension and so much violence, so much insecurity, that what has always been available to us had to be brought back to the fore. And I felt that it was God-timed that I, being a South African woman from Johannesburg, South Africa, from Soweto, a high school mate of Bishop Desmond Tutu, could be part of this conference to help bring it in the global context of it.
I have been very, very deeply moved by what I've experienced here. And something that I said earlier was that, yes, I was trying to think of a simile, of a comparison. And what I could really think of was that, in a sense, it made me think of what it must have been like in the early so-called primitive Christian movement. Except in a way, better, because what we're trying to do, what you're trying to create here, is a better society right here on earth, not only in a hereafter.
And this is the first time I have come into this Baha'i organization. I met some of them on the road, but this is the first time that I felt so strong that we are now working towards a one world thing that we're talking about, peaceful world, harmonious world, sharing everything together. We are one people again, like we was from the start.
When I was coming here on a bus, a man looked at me and he said, "I think you're Persian and you've forgotten your language." I said, "No, I'm Mexican and I still speak Spanish." But he said, we're all the same. Black, white, brown, we're all the same. One God. That kind of belief leads to a world community. It leads us to think of the interdependence of the globe.
It's a great honor to be invited to this extraordinary event. My only reservation is that I'm not sure that I have much to bring you that you don't already know. In reading over the promise of world peace, I've found the statement so close to my own deepest concerns that, in a sense, all I can do is try to reinforce you in the direction you've already taken.
As a non-member and very supportive fellow traveler of the Baha'i community, I want to tell you that I think the statement of the Universal House of Justice and the call for a world convocation is one of the most elegant and profound documents that I have ever read. The spirit in this room reminds me of a quote from Teilhard de Chardin. He said, "The future belongs to those who give the next generation reasons to hope."
Beyond a war, the children will feel no pain. Light up the world and make the sun rise again. We will survive and climb to the highest heights. We need to believe in love. Open our eyes and see the dawn of another time. We won't destroy the joy that God has given us. Beyond a war, we must endure with faith. Go through the storm and see through this worldly haze. One day we'll learn to cherish the gift of life, and we'll see the we'll see the
Senior Baha'i institutions, the Continental Board of Counselors, and the National Spiritual Assembly are active leaders in the work for peace.
119 years ago, Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, addressed the kings and rulers of the world. And he said that a golden age of humanity was dawning. He said that the winds of despair, alas, are blowing from every direction, and the strife that divides and afflicts the human race is daily increasing. The signs of impending convulsions and chaos can now be discerned, inasmuch as the prevailing order is lamentably defective. And then he turned around and he said, but never mind all that, because an age so powerful that it represents the consummation of human evolution is dawning. An age so stupendous it defies our imagination. The sun of that age is rising. Prejudice, war, exploitation, strife, these are expressions of the immature stages of our development. And the unavoidable tumult that these realities create should not be the reason for our despair, but instead should be understood as a necessary prerequisite to understanding the stupendous undertaking of developing a peaceful world. We have not gone through all this for nothing. We haven't lived our lives and suffered our losses and killed each other and enslaved each other and built lives that represented walls that kept us apart. We haven't gone through all that simply to annihilate one another. We have gone through that to learn and to grow and to achieve a new level of life. And we called this conference to say all this and to say that the role of religion is a vital one, because the peace that we aim to establish will not be the reflection of treaties and agencies of international cooperation and agreement. It will be the reflection of a new inner state, a spiritual and moral attitude that must be rekindled in the hearts of men and women throughout the world, and that is our role. We cannot be closed off by this paralysis of will that afflicts our brothers and sisters. We have to show them by the way we live, and by the friendships that we make, and by the obstacles that we overcome to break down the barriers from one heart to another, from one culture to another, from one race to another, from one class to another, from one sex to another. We have to break down those barriers and show by our example, by the way we live our lives, by the way we confront our struggles, that there is a better way. And it is both practical and spiritual. And we have to show that, and we can show that.
Come on, everybody. The power of love, well, it's a curious thing. Make one man weep and another man sing. Change your heart to rise up. More than a feeling, that's the power of love.
Yeah, let's try peace for a while. Love each other and share a smile. Life may be better than it's been before. And with a change of attitude, if the whole world don't improve, we can always go back to making war.
Woman, you are the key to peace. When your voice is heard, all war will cease. Woman, you are the key to peace. When your voice is heard, all war will cease.
Peace! Say love! Scream unity! That's what it means to me. Get deep, get out of the street. Stop running with the fools and acting like a creep. Get deep and don't get weak. Just give me your attention and don't fall asleep. Stay here. The feel of love so strong, I think I can pray. Yeah, it's a garden of colors and peace and unity. Maybe that's the way for you and me. Well, could be the color of you. Could be the color of you. Could be the color of you. Could be the color of you and you and you and you, of you and you and you and you too. You and you and you
But let me just say a few words now about the unique responsibility that you have as members of the Baha'i community. A responsibility that I myself accept as scientist, as a humanist, but that many more people should accept, whether they base themselves on faith or on science. The responsibility that you have is a unique one because you alone, I think, of all the communities of the world, form a global community committed to the belief, to the conviction that peace will come, that peace requires unity, and the unity is only possible in a global society. Therefore, you are committed to the creation of a global society. You already have created a global society among yourself.
I always ask myself, what's the evidence? People can say they're for peace, but what substance is really there? What is hopeful? And that is something that I've felt so much over the past 3 days, a sense of hope again. As a scientist, I can cite 3 specifics that have tremendously impressed me. One is the Baha'i recognition that linked intimately to peace is the equality between women and men. This goes back to early statements by the Baha'i leaders, with the direct link to peace coming out in more recent times. This tremendous statement of the promise of peace expresses this. The second tenet that has impressed me about the Baha'i direct connection to peace is this prohibition against prejudice. I know of a few other things that make it so apparent. The way of bringing about peace is to cut out this tendency toward division and toward downgrading one people versus another. And the third thing is the Baha'i tenet on ethics in the workplace. To me, as a social scientist, this creates an extremely powerful social dynamic leading inevitably to peace.
Peace. That's what we need now, peace. There's a little confusion amongst us, but I think peace should straighten that out. I'm not going to talk about that. Peace was something that will correct some of this situation. We'll have to learn to understand each other because we're as human as ever, everywhere.
So this conference affirmed, strengthened me, and I met the most beautiful people. I have never met many of them. Some I just met, but it seems as if I'd known them for 20 years. It's the warmth, the love, and the encouragement, and the challenge that is here. And if we can meet and relate so well, coming from different nations, different religions, different classes, different sexes, and still find our oneness because we belong to one race, the human race, this is the answer that needs to be lived, not just talked about.
Beyond War will tell you that a nuclear chain reaction starts when a sufficient amount of fissionable material is brought together under conditions of extreme pressure. A critical mass is formed and becomes self-generating. This concept, which we think of in terms of global holocaust, has to be turned around and to be thought of as central to thinking about social change. This is a critical mass already for a nuclear chain reaction, but a nuclear chain reaction that would lead to the domino effect of more and more and more of us thinking about salvation and peace versus defensiveness and destruction.
I hear the sound of the beating of distant drums. I know the sun of truth has finally shone. Let the vibe surrounds us. The mystery of worlds, the riddle of life has found us. Come on, everybody!
Open our eyes to spirit that's lying within. Break down the walls and let all that love come in.
Let's make the whole world smile, smile on creation. Let's make the world unite, unite as one nation.
Everybody stand up.
I want to tell you that I think the statement of the Universal House of Justice and the call for a world convocation is one of the most elegant and profound documents that I have ever read.
I just am profoundly moved and much more hopeful about peace since I've been here.
It's the warmth, the love, and the encouragement and the challenge that is here.
Peace. That's what we need now, peace.
If this experience here can be repeated outside, in the world at large, mankind indeed will come of age, and the prophecy of Baha'u'llah will be fulfilled.
In many different colors.
And if you believe that these differences are beautiful,
it should be the cause of unity.
And if you believe that our highest purpose
is to love each other
and live together as one family
with justice,
then you may want to look into the Baha'i faith.
Millions of people of every race, nation, and culture share these beliefs
as members of the Baha'i faith.